G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. As you can probably hear behind me, I've got my air compressor running. I've got my little pop blaster set up and I'm going to just give this a little bit of a whip blast, get a little corrosion off so that we can give it a lick of paint. So hopefully we can get that installed, and I'm thinking about trying to have a go at welding some studs in for the windows. So I'm tempted to buy an actual stud welder because I've got hundreds of studs to put in, but I'm going to give it a go with the MIG and just see how easy it is. So let's get those two cracking. So I just gave it all a whip blast all over the surface. So we got all the mill scale off, all the corrosion off, and I'm going to give it a bit of a paint with some epoxy primer. Here's another little bargain I picked up from the shops. I went to the shops just looking for burger patties. So I got these for $1.69 for 200 of these packs. And you open them up and you can cut them in half. That gives me 200 mixing trays for paint for $1.69. So always keep my eye out for little bargains. You never know where you're going to find them. So I'm going to give this a little coat of primer, and then that's basically ready for installation. I'll still have to drill and tap some holes into it, but I might do that when I've got someone around give me a hand to put it up. Last time I tried to put it up by myself, it was not easy. So we'll wait a few days until someone's around to give me a hand with that. So I've been navigating these stairs quite dangerously the last couple of days. It's very steep and the steps are all on an incline like that, which doesn't make it a very comfortable step down. So down at the bottom here too, it's only sitting on a very small amount, and then when you get to this last step you've got a fair way down before you got a place to put your foot. So before I do anything too dangerous and break my ankle or something, I might just fix this ladder up. It used to be a bit better when the floor was all in here. The ladder was up a bit better and it had a better angle, so we might just fix this up. So the more work I do in here, the less chance I have of hurting myself. And we do need to put in some floor supports anyway, so I'll just prematurely weld a couple of floor supports in so we can get a board down here and have the ladder set up properly. Alright, I've just got these two bars welded in. So just down here, we've got welds all the way around. So we cleaned them up a little bit. They were corroded. These are more of those pieces that I pulled out of the floor that was up the top here. So this one here will be in line with the bulkhead that will get inserted up top here. So, and then this one here is a little bit off center, but it means we've still got to box this out for the bulkhead that we're going to be putting in here. So these are in a good structural point. They're not in the way of any access that we need to get to underneath the floor. We will have to put in one going across there and across there when we work out how much access we need to where the motors might be sitting. But yeah, these are in a nice spot. So we're going to cut a board out that's going to go over the top of these two, and then we'll put the ladder on, give it a bit better of an angle, and make it a lot safer to get in and out. Just because of the vast nature of all the little jobs that I've got to go to tidy a lot of things up in this room and all the rooms, while I've got the gear out and I'm here working, I've got the grinder here. This is a lug which has been cut off from something, maybe from the floor. So we'll just grind that off so it's nice and flush. Alright, so I've got this ladder done, so it's going to be much easier getting stuff in and out. I've got a platform to step onto instead of having to jump on the beams and whatnot, and I've put a couple of extra pieces of wood to get that first step a little bit further away, so that coming down you can actually use the first step instead of having to go from all the way up there all the way down to that step. So it's just much safer, a bit of a platform to step onto. I've doubled up the thickness of the pliers so it's not flimsy. And it's a lot easier to get in and out, so that's going to be a lot safer. It's hard carrying that big heavy welder and gas bottle up and down the ladder, even when it was so inclined. So next up I want to try and put a couple of studs on some of the windows, so that I can work out whether or not I need to buy a stud welder or if I'll just do it with a MIG. So I'm going to have a go. So I've got all these studs, and I'm going to weld these studs onto the hull, and then the acrylic window is going to slide over the top and be bolted against the hull, so that creates a nice seal. So to weld these I need to grind or cut a 45-degree chamfer on these, so that when I weld them onto the hull it's not going to have a big lump of weld protruding and not allowing my acrylic window to butt up against the hull. So I thought, I've got my pedestal grinder inside the shipping container, but that might take a little while because it's a small wheel, it's fine, and it's basically used for sharpening drill bits. And I like to keep it all nice and flat so that when I sharpen my drill bits, they're nice and sharp and they're not sort of curved edges. So what I'm going to try and do, which might be quicker than using a pedestal grinder, is to get a cutting disc and just lop off 4 sides. So then all I have to do is put a tack weld on all 4 sides, and that should be enough to hold the stud on. So we're going to give that a go, see if it's going to be quicker than using the pedestal grinder, and get it done. Well, I did the first one with a cutting disc, and being stainless steel it sort of just pushed your cutting disc away. So I'm going to try the next one with a grinding disc and see if that's better. So I'm just going to start on my studs, and I've just set up everything so that we've got a little bit of 45 with my magnets. So that just slides in place like that, nice perpendicular. And then I just put a tack weld on there, remove the magnets, and then finish the weld. And then I'll get the acrylic on and see if it all lines up. It may be that I need to put a nut on one, just give it a tap with a hammer just to get it nice and parallel. But we'll see how we go, and I'll get welding. Alright, it's time to see if this acrylic will slide on. Alright, so that's nice. We've got the starting of the new windows. So there'll be stainless steel coaming go over the top of these, and then a couple of washers and some nuts. So yeah, this is going to be built up. We may have to trim these down a little bit, but they'll be behind the paneling anyway. And we've got lots more studs to be welding in. We needed a lot to make sure that there's no leaks. You don't want gaps spreading further than 100mm each side. So that's going to work out well. I've got my Companionway all painted up. I am going to put another coat of white paint on there, probably a white bilge coat, so that it could be cleaned up nicely. So I've got a marine ply here, so I'm just going to measure distance between here and make a board that's going to slide back and forth within this track for the Companionway slide. So I'm going to get cutting that out. So here's my Companionway slide. It's just a piece of marine ply at the moment. I'm going to take this home next week, and I'm going to fiberglass and fair it, and so that's going to be next week's video. I'll save me some time coming through Christmas back to the boat, so yeah, this will be next week's video at home, so I can spend more time with the family. This here slide back and forth on the nylon rubbers we're going to install, and yeah, once you push it back, gives you a chance to go down the Companionway stairs and bring it up here and lock it up. We're going to have a fiddle going across the top so you can drag it back and forth nice and easy. But yeah, next week I'm going to do this one at home, so we got more family time over the Christmas break. And hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. Leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you want, and we'll see you next week. Thanks guys.